Before we jump into today's episode, I want to make an announcement. Capstone Leadership Solutions, which was co founded more than 14 years ago by two registered nurses, we're getting back to our roots by offering a nursing excellence event. We know that every rural hospital wants to promise and provide exceptional nursing care. But nursing excellence doesn't just happen because some nurses are great. It happens when every caregiver delivers consistent, evidence based care, every patient, every shift, every day. So we hope you will join us on August 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time for a free webinar where we'll be overviewing the same proven 5-step approach. We call it the Capstone Adoption Method that we've used to help rural hospitals improve patient experience, strengthen teamwork, increase consistency, and create nursing improvements that take hold and last. This webinar is free. Again, it's on August 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can go to our website, capstoneleadership.net, and go to our resources page where we have all of our upcoming events listed. Or you can email us at info, at capstoneleadership.net, and we can email you the registration link. Now on to today's episode. People often think we help organizations implement leadership programs or employee engagement initiatives or patient experience strategies. And those are certainly part of what we do. But the bigger picture is this. We're helping organizations become places where people want to work, where patients want to receive care, and where communities trust they'll receive exceptional service and care. Welcome to Culture Change RX, the podcast for healthcare professionals that are committed to creating a thriving workplace culture, improving the experiences of employees and patients, and ultimately unlocking their organization's next level of potential. I'm Sue Tetzlaff, your host and co-founder of Capstone Leadership Solutions. Join me and my insightful guests each week as we share actionable insights for navigating the crucial people side of the business of healthcare. Subscribe now for a weekly dose of Culture Change RX. Now let's dive into this week's conversation where culture change takes center stage. Hello and welcome to another episode of Culture Change RX. It's me, Sue Tetzlaff, co-founder of Capstone Leadership Solutions, and I'm so glad you're joining me here today. I want to begin today, this solo episode, by asking you a question. When you picture the very best place to work in healthcare, what comes to mind? Maybe you picture a nationally recognized academic medical center, a world-famous health system, a beautiful hospital campus in a large metropolitan area. A lot of people do. After all, those organizations often have bigger budgets, more specialties, more technology, maybe higher salaries, and more name recognition. So naturally, we assume they're the very best place to build a career. But after spending the past 14 years partnering with rural hospitals across the country and working for 22 years in a rural hospital myself, I've certainly come to believe something very different. I believe that rural hospitals have an extraordinary opportunity, not just to survive, not just to recruit, but to become the preferred place to work in all of healthcare. And I don't think that's just wishful thinking. I know that I'm quite positive and an optimist, but I don't think that's just wishful thinking. I have come to believe that it's entirely achievable. And today, I want to spend some time telling you why I think that. If you've spent any time in rural healthcare, you've heard the story. We can't compete. We can't pay enough. We can't recruit. We can't keep people. And yes, for many organizations, those challenges are real. But I wonder if we spent so much time talking about what rural hospitals don't have that we've forgotten to recognize what they do have. Because here's what I see. I see organizations where people know each other by name, where leaders are accessible, where one employee can generally influence the direction of the department or the organization, even where teamwork isn't just a slogan, it's really survival, right? Where patients aren't just room numbers, they are our neighbors. Maybe our former teachers, our kids' teachers, our friends from church, the person who coached our son's baseball team. Those aren't disadvantages. They are competitive advantage. Let's think about this for a minute. In a very large health system, it's easy to become anonymous. One employee among thousands, one voice that's never heard, one idea that never reaches the people making decisions. In a rural hospital, though, something different happens. People know you. Your manager not just doesn't only just know you, they know your family. Your CEO knows your name. You aren't invisible. You're seen. You're valued. And when people feel seen, they are more likely to stay. One of the things that I've learned over years of working alongside rural hospitals is this. People don't stay because the parking is better or because the building is newer. They stay because of relationships, because of trust, because they feel like they matter and they're making a difference. Recently, I just recorded another podcast with Doug Morse, the head of our strategic planning division here at Capstone. And I love what he says about competing. He says, don't win the comparison, end the comparison. So when people talk about your hospital, what if they didn't say they pay the most? What if they said they are the very best place I've ever worked? Imagine the impact of that on the reputation of the organization as a place to work, right? As a place to apply and go and work and stay. And really, what makes people stay, right? Now, that's a totally different question. What actually creates a workplace where people don't want to leave? It's one thing to compete for talent, but it's another to retain our talent. But really, what creates a workplace where people don't want to leave? It's probably not what first comes to mind. It's not the compensation. It's not the pizza parties. It's not the free coffee. The organizations we see becoming employers of choice consistently invest in things like servant leadership, psychological safety, healthy communication, trust, recognition, belonging, employee voice and engagement, leader rounding, strong onboarding, meaningful work, growth opportunities, employees who help shape decisions rather than simply receive them. Notice something? None of these require a multi-million dollar budget. Most of them require intention, right? Intentional leadership. Culture is built in every conversation, every interaction, one relationship at a time. And there's a ripple effect of that, right? And this is where it gets exciting. When your hospital becomes a place where people genuinely want to work, everything else becomes easier. Retention improves, recruitment improves, teamwork improves, patient experiences improve, quality improves, your reputation grows, more people want to work there, more patients want to receive care there, growth follows, financial strength follows. This isn't just a workforce strategy, it's an organizational vitality strategy. At Capstone, we've long talked about our organizational vitality formula: people plus service plus quality. Leverage it for growth and finance. People, truly, people create great organizations, great service, great care, right? And that quality earns growth. Growth strengthens the financial performance, and healthy finances create more opportunities to what? Invest in people, right? So we just reinvest it back into our organization. That's what nonprofits do. That's what community nonprofit hospitals can do. When we improve our growth, strengthen our finances, we have more to invest back into our people, service, and quality. It's a reinforcing cycle. And it all begins truly with the people pillar, right? One of the greatest privileges, truly, of my career has been watching this happen. I've watched hospitals that struggled with turnover become organizations people are actively seeking out. Those applicant pools get larger with higher quality applicants from even farther out, able to recruit talent, not just from within your community, but farther out from that. I've watched employees begin referring their friends and families to apply. I've watched leaders become coaches instead of firefighters. I've watched employee engagement rise, patient experience rise, quality outcomes improve, financial performance strengthen, not because somebody found a magic pill or a magic potion, but because they intentionally built a culture where people wanted to belong. And that's what Capstone is really at the core all about. People often think we help organizations implement leadership programs or employee engagement initiatives or patient experience strategies. And those are certainly part of what we do. But the bigger picture is this: we're helping organizations become places where people want to work, where patients want to receive care, and where communities trust they'll receive exceptional service and care. Imagine a new graduate nurse. I remember being a new graduate nurse, right? But imagine being a new graduate nurse or a new rad tech, and they receive three job offers. One is from a large health system, one is from an urban teaching facility, and one is from your rural hospital. Now, imagine they start talking to people, right? And they hear stories about your rural hospital, your leaders, about your employees and the teammates that support one another, about the physicians and providers that are so approachable, about feeling known as an employee there, about having opportunities to contribute, even as a new nurse, a new employee, about being trusted, about being encouraged to grow, about being able to find opportunities to make a difference every single day. And suddenly the conversation isn't about the highest wage or best benefit package. It's about where that person wants to build not only their career, but their life, right? That's the opportunity I believe rural healthcare has. And I think it's a great advantage. So I'd like to wrap this short solo episode up by leaving you with a final question here. If someone left a large healthcare system tomorrow, what would have to be true for them to say, I hope I can get a job at a rural hospital, not because it's their only option, but because it's their first choice? And I honestly believe that that's possible. Not for every organization overnight, but for every organization, every rural healthcare organization that's willing to intentionally strengthen leadership, trust, that sense of belonging, to develop their people, to develop their culture, and truly to consistently live that culture that they inspire to have. The future, I truly believe, the future of healthcare won't be determined only by reimbursement models or technology or demographics. I believe it'll be determined by which organizations become the preferred place to work. Because when you become the preferred place to work, you naturally become one of the preferred places to receive care. And that's how stronger hospitals build stronger communities. And we say this often: when you strengthen a community hospital, you strengthen the community. And I truly believe in my heart of all hearts, after 30 plus years in the rural healthcare industry, that we have an opportunity as an industry to make rural the preferred place to work in the healthcare industry. Think about it. Think about that as a nationwide movement. Rural is the preferred place to work in the healthcare industry. And what's your part in that? Like, What is the role you play? Whatever role you're in a rural healthcare organization, what part can you play in this where you're at? Because if each rural community healthcare organization united in this similar movement, this similar campaign to be the preferred place to work in healthcare, I believe it's possible. Quicker, easier, faster because of all of the strengths of being small and being rural. And yep, this is one of those episodes where I've got my rose colored glasses on, I've got my optimism on high speed, and I've got my positivity turned up to high, but I believe for a very possible and good cause. And at Capstone, every day our team is working with small and rural healthcare organizations around the country to inspire and equip them for positive change in healthcare and to be part of this movement to make rural healthcare the preferred place to work and the preferred place for patients to receive care. We can be the very best. So thank you for joining me for another episode of Culture Change RX. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd encourage you to share it with another healthcare leader who's also passionate about strengthening rural healthcare. And until next time, keep leading well. Bye now. Thanks for tuning in to Culture Change RX. If you found value in today's episode and you are a believer in fostering change in healthcare, join us in making a difference. Follow, rate, and review our podcast on your favorite platform. Share it with colleagues and your network. Together, we can make a lasting impact. Until next week, keep inspiring positive change.